Well, hello there, everybody. Glad to see you can make it. It's Brian Zayn. It's Friday night, and the mood is right. And I have a new microphone, and I'm here to debut it tonight. And just disturbed it a little bit. And we are going to have ourselves a good old Smackdown review live. I'll be a little more gentle with it, but I want to show everyone the new investment I made in getting this thing's a unit. This thing weighs like 7 or 8 pounds. You could knock someone out with this thing. Just bash it in their heads. The steel, the cold steel. Anyway, how's your week been? It's been a bit of a day here, but we are going to. Why am I peeking? What's going on here? What's this nonsense? Let's talk about SmackDown tonight. A lot of twists and turns. Before we begin, though, I just want to remind everybody, for those of you who are not aware, that all this month, the proceeds from my Pro Wrestling Tees store are going to the American Lung Association in honor of Brody Lee. So go check that out, prowrestlingtees.com/wrestlingwithregret. That's my little PSA to start this thing off. We begin with, first we see Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns looking over the contract for the match at the Royal Rumble. With the match with Adam Pearce, and Roman doesn't like what he sees. So Heyman says there should be a stipulation of some kind in this match, so I'll take care of it. And that's how the show begins. He wants to teach Adam Pearce a lesson. The show opens up with Jey Uso making his way to the ring, cuts a promo about how Roman Reigns is responsible for the clean towels in the Performance Center, or not the Performance Center, the Thunderdome, and the catering and everything. Also, I dig the fact they're using the 8K cameras in some of the intros tonight, like the very, very narrow depth of field, so that everything around the subject is like all blurry. Looks very nice. I dig that. That attention to detail there. They should keep doing that, and not just for the Fox shows. They should do it for Raw as well, I think. Jay calls this the Bloodline show, talks about talking trash about Adam Pearce, and says that he's going to win the Rumble match and he's going to challenge the WWE champion for the title at WrestleMania, so they can, all the family can have the championships. Shinsuke got his old babyface theme back. Yeah, I mean, just as I'm getting used to the heel one, I think you could rally behind that theme. But anyway, the old one, Rising Sun, is back, and you love to hear it. So Shinsuke says that, if Roman's a big dog, then you're a little puppy. Then he hits him. Then he does his pose, like his entrance restarts, essentially. Gets a second entrance before their match, which I thought was great. So the match happens. A few minutes in, Cesaro appears and is one of the many, many, many people tonight who will join the gang on commentary. It must be some running audition for who's going to be the third man in this team, because almost every match there's somebody who joins commentary for some period of time. So a few minutes into that match, after he's doing the commentary, Cesaro announces he is also going to be in the Rumble match. The match that Adam Pearce even said this week, you can't just enter yourself into. Oh, by the way, ladies, here you go. Here's a spot. And oh, by the way, everyone else but Drew Gulak, here, you can have a spot in this match. So Uso tries to win dirty, but the referee catches it. And then there's, he's arguing with Charles Robinson. That allows Shinsuke to win Ske by hitting the Kinshasa. Shinsuke looks good here. I mean, in 2 weeks between the Gauntlet match and tonight, he is he's getting this real big momentum all of a sudden. And I would not be surprised if after the Royal Rumble, which we'll get into, wouldn't be surprised if he becomes like the next challenger to Kevin Owens. We seem to get a bit of indication of that last week. And this furthering the angle with Jey Uso, I think that would be a fun little ditty, a fun little match there. Backstage, you see Adam Pearce with Sonya Deville. Sonya with the kind of cool, Sonya with a line saying, I've seen your old tapes and you could take on Roman Reigns. And Pearce with a cool line saying, I haven't been that guy in a long time, and that guy would not be ready for Roman Reigns. It's again more acknowledging Pearce's past, but also putting over Reigns at the same time. So Paul Heyman shows back up, tries to build up how much of an opportunity this contract is for Pearce. So it's going to be a no DQ match now. Pearce frustratingly signs it, and that's that. We'll hear more about them later. Also, we see Jey Uso arguing with Charles Robinson backstage, further arguing what happened in their match. Kind of threatens Charles's job as well. That seems to be the MO of the Bloodline, is to to threaten people and cajole them and gaslight them, as Michael Cole said. Roman Reigns, we also see him having a chat with Apollo Crews, which is interesting. Just that visual right there. How often do we see them interact in the same space? Heyman shows up with the contract, but Roman says he doesn't want a no DQ match. He never wanted that. He wants something else. How about a last man standing match? And tells Heyman to make it work. And Paul Heyman kind of seems a bit perturbed by Roman changing the rules once again. But Crews taking some advice from Roman Reigns here, it seems, is a pretty cool prospect. I don't think he needs to go join the team, but I think that him just kind of going off his own and being a heel, and we'll see more of this develop as the episode goes on. But I think that's, how long has Apollo been the smiling babyface who gets like stomped on? It's been a long time. And I feel that him turning heel will be a good thing, but I will talk more about that momentarily. But one thing I do want to talk about is Punk Billy Kay. I love this next match because Natalya versus Liv Morgan. Natalya's got Tamina in her corner, and Liv is joined by Ruby Riott and Billy Kay, who's embracing the Punk lifestyle. I want to see next week, I want to see tattoos drawn on her arm, just like with Sharpie and stuff. That'd be hilarious. But yeah, I stand Punk Billy Kay for sure. The match itself is fine. It's great. Yeah, I think these two work really well together. Billy goes to commentary as well. Again, one of the many people. And then as the match goes on, also I liked about Billy talking about her mosh pishing skills. It's not like a flub, but they just ran with it basically. So Billy Kay gets up and starts kind of shouting encouragement. She bumps into Tamina, and then she kind of like runs through the ring. That distracts Liv Morgan, allows Natalya to win via roll up. So yeah, I thought that like even in defeat, I think Liv looked great in the match, and I think that the dynamic of Ruby and Liv with Billy Kay is pretty hilarious, and so I want to see more of that for sure. Let's see here. Our next match. Hang on, hydration break here. It's lime seltzer. So that's where I put the ad break, by the way, as I do another promotion for a drink. So we got Rey Mysterio versus King Corbin. My first thought was, where are the Knights of the Lone Wolf? Where are the Lone Rangers? I want to see Corbin's backup, and like they're there and they're not. Dominic Mysterio joins commentary. Everyone's getting a spot on the desk tonight, even the ones who can't talk, like Dominic. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea to have him try and talk, because he was swimming with sharks as Corey Graves was like trying to needle him about, oh, you can't stay in your father's shadow forever, as King Corbin is simultaneously talking to Dominic. How can Dominic concentrate? He's got two voices going on, probably has Vince in his ear too. That's a very untenable position. I would hate to be in that position, especially if I couldn't talk. Like Dominic cannot talk. Dominic gets decked by Corbin in the end. Then Rey hits a 619. Dominic wants to get in the ring, but Rey tells him to hold him back. It's the end of days for Corbin to win. Then afterward, backstage, Rey further admonishes Dominic about what happened out there, saying, you don't pick a fight with a guy like Baron Corbin without a plan. I had to rewind it like 3 or 4 times. I couldn't stop laughing at without a plan. It's the little things, folks. So anyway, he says if Dominic wants a shot at Corbin, he knows just who to talk to and that he owes him. So somebody besides Adam Pearce, perhaps, because Pearce I thought he was the matchmaker. So let's go to this other guy. Well, we'll see. Who knows? Pearce runs into Paul Heyman again. Paul tells him, he gives him the update. This is a last man standing match. And now Adam's incredulous. We're going to find out that these guys are going to have a contract signing in the ring later tonight. Now is the debut of the new talk show sensation, Ding Dong. Hello, it's hosted by Bayley, and I love the idea. She comes through a door in the ring. First time we've seen the door used as something like an actual like prop for a set that needs to be like given respect and dignity since the APA's office, I'm pretty sure. Since this door's standing in the middle of the ring, she comes through it. She's a plaque on the set that says she was SmackDown Women's Champion for 380 days. So then Bianca Belair is the guest, and she insists that Bianca goes through the door to make her way into the set. So basically, Bayley throws shade at Bianca during this. They go to plug the Chronicle special that Bianca's on, but instead they show a clip of Bayley beating Bianca in a match a couple weeks ago. She takes issue with Bianca's EST nickname, and Bianca says she's just being unapologetically herself. And Bayley says technically that she's the best, and she beat the EST in that match a few weeks ago. She wants to challenge Bianca to an obstacle course next week, and when I heard the words leave her lips, I immediately saw visions of Sami Zayn swinging on a rope to drop kick Bobby Lashley like 2 years ago, or 3 actually. So yeah, can we get a recreation of that next week? I actually want to see that now. So that's the last word. Bianca gets the last word in, basically, accepting the obstacle course. And as she's doing her bopping around, one of her earrings falls off. And there's a really sweet moment where Bayley, who's the heel, by the way, has to pick up the earring and give it to Bianca. Such a polite, devious heel is Bayley. I thought the exchange between the two was good. I hope we see more episodes of Ding Dong Hello. I want to see them take full advantage of the door entrance. I want to see clever camera cuts, since there's no audience to give it away. I want to see a thing where, like, you know, Bayley and guest whoever are talking, and all of a sudden, like, ding dong, who is it? You don't see who comes to the door. All of a sudden, bam, like some other babyface runs in and breaks it up. There are lots of potential there, I think, with Ding Dong Hello. Earlier, we see some footage from earlier with the Alpha Academy. It's Chad Gable training Otis and Daniel Bryan on the hips. Daniel puts over Shinsuke in their match last week in the Gauntlet, but Cesaro walks in and says, you can't speak for Shinsuke. You're not his friend. He makes fun of the training methods, and then Daniel says he'll show Cesaro how well they work in their match, which comes up next. D-Bry versus Cesaro, and this is a great match. It's, if you like technical wrestling, like the graps, then this is the match for you. I think it's a lot of fun here. Early in the match before the break, Bryan with some kicks on the ring post, and the last one he just decks the ring post because Cesaro moves. And in the end, Bryan goes to the flying knee, but he walks right into a very European uppercut and the neutralizer for Cesaro to win. So big singles win for Cesaro against some of the caliber of Daniel Bryan. That's pretty rad, and just it's really cool that in the span of one episode, Cesaro and Shinsuke both have some great wins under their belt, and so I think that's a really cool look for them. Hang on. So we get a backstage interview with Carmella, who talks about she's wondering where Sasha Banks is. She hasn't seen her since she beat her a couple weeks ago. Sasha's afraid, but as soon as she says that, Sasha comes right in and barges in, and she shoves Carmella on her butt, and then the sommelier, Reginald, gets in between them, and Sasha says Carmella can have the title shot if Reginald has a match with her first. Short segment, but Sasha looks really strong here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that match goes. Will it go the way of like James Ellsworth and Becky Lynch? Time will tell, but I don't think Reginald, the Somalian sommelier, is going to get a lot of licks in here. T. Wayne asking, how long have I been doing the live reviews? For a few months now, but this is the second episode under the new setup. Although I realize now, as I'm talking, I didn't update the thumbnail, so my bad. I'll have to fix that at some point. Let's see here. Going on here, the newly possible heel Apollo Crews. It's not confirmed yet. There's been no giant pivot point to establish that Apollo is a heel, but they're certainly leaning that way as he takes on another heel in Sami Zayn. Big E is on commentary, but at least he breaks the trend. He has his own couch and his own Ghostbusters sweater and a mini fridge, which is open the entire time, which irks me to no end. You would not imagine how irked I got seeing that wide open mini fridge. So anyway, he's talking about it, and again, trying to hold back Corey Graves' talk about how he allegedly didn't win the title fairly. As fool, I didn't make the match. It's a pretty short match here. Sammy tries to win with a handful of tights, but the referee catches it. Crews then wins with the same tactic. Ooh, some devious stuff here. It's almost a very similar finish. Not too similar, but it's kind of the same beats as the finish, the Jey Uso Shinsuke match, where it's like heel tries to win, argues with the referee, and then it costs him the match. But it's a different circumstance. Shinsuke wins very face-like, and Apollo wins like a heel. Then Apollo grabs Big E's belt and kind of looks at it before he tosses it back in his hands. They jaw jack a bit. We find out they will have another title match next Friday, and I am looking forward to that. That should be a really good one. So then we go to our main event segment. It is the contract signing with Roman and Adam Pearce. Pearce signed. Well, I guess Pearce. It looked like he signed the contract, but I guess he didn't. He looks a little frustrated. He hands the contract over. Roman signs it as Heyman and Roman are egging Pearce on, and Pearce's demeanor changes and goes, "I've been waiting for you to sign this all night." Gets out of the ring. Suddenly he begins to hobble, like he hurt his knee or something. He's this this old wrestling injury firing up again. Oh, you know how it is. But you know, the great thing about the contract is that it says card subject to change. As he's saying this, the mic begins to cut out, and I feel bad for him. Like they have to, like, you can hear them fucking with the levels a bit. Like, oh, we got to change what what input he's talking into because the mic's not working no more. So he basically says, here is my replacement. It is Kevin Owens. I wish the announcers gave half a shit about that because it's the last thing you hear is, well, it's official. Kevin Owens is fighting Roman Reigns. Like, no drama in the announced voice at all from Cole or Graves. No, like, shocked noises going, I can't believe he did that. It's just like, well, there it is. Another Kevin Owens match. Like, try to sell that to us a little bit better, guys. You know, my one knock on this segment is how the announcers just kind of shat all over it. But, you know, I guess we should be relieved that it's not Adam Pearce and Roman at the Rumble, because that was kind of my big concern. I'm like, this feels like something that should be safe for TV. And I'm betting now after this that we're going to get like Roman getting his heat by beating up Adam Pearce in a match like on SmackDown in the next 2 weeks, but not at the pay-per-view. So I guess we're spared that. I mean, I was warming up to the idea. I'm still not in love with it for a pay-per-view, but I think that like them changing it after 1 week, it's like, it might be too soon. I don't know. I keep the intrigue going a bit and maybe further sell Kevin Owens being laid out. Just it's a minor nitpick. I'm not hating it. I'm just saying this is a small thing you could have done to make it a bit more impactful. But again, please, announcers, please try and give a shit. So that's my take on that. Whoops, that's the wrong thing to push. Still getting the hang of this StreamYard stuff, folks. But from there, we move on. That is my review of the show. By the way, thanks to all those who have been watching right now. We're at 315 right now, which is a very good number. So now with that out of the way, here is my grade. I think this is a great episode of SmackDown. I give it an A-. Like I said, I think that very few bad points about this show. The only thing I didn't like was Dominic on commentary. I felt bad for him more than anything. But I don't think he had the chops, didn't have the jam to be able to be on his own out there in that kind of capacity. That was not a great call. Whoever booked it that way, I'm not a fan of that idea. But everything else was fine. Like, I loved Billy. I keep being a fan of Billy Kay's shtick. I find that like every once in a while, SmackDown in particular will have this thing that is gold and that I can't get enough of, and they ride that out for several weeks. Like Fashion Files was an example of that as well. So, yeah, Shinsuke Uso was great. Cesaro and Bryan was even better. Apollo's like possible heel turn, I'm really intrigued by that. Even Ding Dong Hello was good as well. Not as, I don't think it was like pro good. I think it was somewhere in the middle, but it was still like trending upward, I think. So that is my take on the show. Let me know what your grades. I'm seeing some B-. I'm seeing a solid B. Yeah, so let's see here. We are going to drop that and go back to this one. There's my name in case you didn't know. So that's the review portion of this. And now, as is tradition, we are going to go. What is going on, folks? This chat is killing me. I need to figure out what's going on here. Anyway, how's your day going? This is something I need to do, but I'm still getting the hang of this new setup. It's not the best. Here we go. Okay, so now we're kind of at the beginning here. And just going through the chats. So let's do these super chats now. That was the most painstaking introduction to this segment. I think I lost a few people doing that. Pedro Lima, $5 super chat. Hey, Bryan, back in your days as an active wrestler, who was your dream opponent? And if you were to have another match, who would you like to face? That's a very interesting question. When I wrestled, I don't know if I really thought big and thought about who would a dream match be. Like, I don't know. Like, I think Chris Jericho, having been one of my favorites at the time, would have loved to have a chance to wrestle him at some point if I ever got good enough. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of who, like, yeah, I never really thought about that. Honestly, I my biggest focus as a wrestler was just like, please God, don't fuck anything up in the ring. Don't make me fuck up anything in the ring. That's all I care about. My prayers often were not answered when I wrestled. I'll put it that way. But as far as if I had another match, who would I like to face? Again, I don't think about that very often, but like anything I would do, I would hope that it makes sense in a storyline capacity. Like if it's another manager or some wrestler who's like trying to get, one up on me. Like I wouldn't even hate the idea of wrestling some kind of intergender match. You know, I like Fonzie and Beulah. Not quite as bloody. I don't want to do that, but like something where I can, you know, just like get my ass kicked, or like Jim Cornette and Baby Doll or something, you know, something where it can be funny and like I don't have to like look that good in the ring. You know, I can just be an asshole. Like that'd be great. It'd be an easy night. Inigo Montoya, $4.99 super chat. So Nakamura is a face, but Cesaro is a heel, yet there's still a team. What is reasons? Yeah, that was an interesting dynamic tonight, because Shinsuke was a baby face, clearly, and Cesaro was a bit of a dickish heel, especially talking to Daniel Bryan. I don't think he was a heel so much in the commentary earlier. It might all shake out where it's like Cesaro might eventually migrate to babyface, or they will eventually split up because of their differences, where it's like Cesaro will be like, you listen to the fans, now I hate you. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, that dynamic was interesting, but I mean, it's like I wouldn't put too much thought into that dynamic tonight, because Shinsuke's face turn does feel relatively fresh, and who knows where it's all going to end up. Tyler Joseph Smith, $4.99. You're having me do two impressions in a row. Are you kidding me? There you go. There's your twofer. I wanted to see Pearce versus Reigns. Would be entertaining. How many times must KO lose to Reigns? That is something I'm not looking forward to, is seeing another really super close heartbreaker where Kevin Owens loses again to Reigns. That's probably what's going to happen. So like, I don't know if I would have been jazzed for Pearce and Reigns. Like, I would have been open to it depending on how they built it. Again, I think waiting 1 week to change it to Kevin Owens was a bit premature, but yeah, it is what it is. And I think it'll be a good match, because KO and Reigns put out great matches. So it's just going to be another one of those heartbreakers, I bet. Michael Painter, $5. Hey, Brian. Hey, what AEW versus WWE matches would you want to see one day? Personally, I like to see the Street Profits versus the Young Bucks, or Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin. I mean, yeah, Jeff and Darby would be a good match. I'm trying to think of who else, like, who's a younger contemporary of Jeff, like in WWE, who would be good for Darby. I mean, there's a lot of people. I would love to see like Swerve Scott versus Darby Allin. I would love to see, who am I thinking of right now? Other cruiserweights that are like on the tip of my tongue. Like, I think Jake Atlas would be good for him. I think that I'd love to see like Breezango versus the Best Friends. That would be awesome. I'd love to see Cody versus Triple H, so they can get all their sexual tension out of the way. Not that, probably no, I'm going over the line when I say that. But I mean, there is definitely some, especially from a couple of years ago, Sledgy to the Throne. I mean, come on, that was really subtle. I'm sure that would be a dream match as well. Like, God, maybe Omega, the Battle of the KOs. Kenny Omega versus Kevin Owens versus Kyle O'Reilly, a triple threat, a triple KO affair. I'd love to see that as well. And I'm sure there's more I could, if I really sat down and really thought about that, I could probably come up with some more answers. Parker Soul saying $5. I hope ROH is able to use Maria Kanellis. Years ago, I saw an ROH show live, and she got so much earned heat. She's super underrated. Yeah, Maria's a great manager. I loved her stuff. Like when I would see her stuff in ROH, working with Mike Bennett and in TNA later on. She's got a knack for it. And yeah, I hope that now that she and Mike Bennett are back at ROH and OGK is a thing, I want to see Maria get more screen time and be more of a character. We've seen some snippets of it online, and so hopefully we can see more of that. Thank you very much, Parker. Andy Man 576-999. Thank you for the years of entertainment you provided. Are you more excited or concerned about how they will do the Rumble this year? I mean, if you're talking about COVID scares, I'm not any more concerned about the Rumble than I am for the fact that they're wrestling at all, because Lord knows they're doing it, and it's like, well, they're going to get sick or they won't. And that seems to be their philosophy at this point. It's you live by the COVID, you die by the COVID. I mean, no pun intended. Hopefully nobody dies. But I'm saying that they don't seem to, I mean, they test frequently. Casey Catanzaro said on Instagram today, like, she gets tested at least once a week. And I imagine everyone else does too. So the testing is there, and like, they're going to get sick or they won't. And I guess that's the risk they go with it. And what difference does it make if it's one-on-one or 10 people in the ring at once? Doesn't really matter. I mean, we saw the Survivor Series. They're not above putting a bunch of people in the ring at one time. Oh shit. Where? Damn, chat refreshed. Here we go. Michael Newvert, $5. Funny how Kota Ibushi said something about retiring the IWGP Intercontinental title, and now Shinsuke is suddenly motivated and reinvigorated. I can imagine that where Kota wants to retire the belt and Shinsuke's is spidey senses tingle or something. I mean, I wouldn't read too much into that. I mean, that seems like a funny coinky-dink, but you know, maybe something to think about. Maybe Shinsuke's trying to put a few more matches together for a resume for when he eventually leaves. He can go back to Japan and dominate there. Once again, I just scrolled past a comment. It says Bryan Zayn versus Malcolm Bevins. Yes, please. Christopher Gabbianelli, another Patreon backer, is AEW misusing Sting? No, I think they're using him exactly how they should. Like, he's being used in small doses. He's not having a match right now, which I guess is fine. I mean, I don't know how long they're going to wait until they pull the trigger on that, but you know, they only waited until this week for him to finally get physical. He actually used the bat this time, which, you know, they waited long enough for that. You know, like I want to see where that's going to lead, because it's literally just been showing up anytime Darby Allin's involved in something, and like, where is that going to go? Like, I'm curious about it, but I don't think they're misusing him. I think they are just kind of repeating themselves often. And so, you know, again, we'll see where it ends up. Hang on, I'm going to hide that. A little bit of a bev break. Brian, your stage name should be Brain in Zayn. I will tell you, Zayn is my middle name, and for a long time growing up, I hated my middle name. Hated it, because kids would go, "Hey, your middle name is Zayn. Does that mean you're zany?" Ha ha ha. I'm like, shut up, fuck you. I swore a lot when I was a kid. But yeah, and then, I don't know what the turning point was. I guess it was when I started, like, you know, having fantasies of being a wrestler, and I originally had, like, my ring name was going to be like, you know, the trick for like, ooh, find your porn star name. It's like the street, your middle name and the street you grew up on. So I was Zayn Stanton or something, or technically it was Zayn 31st, but I became Zayn Stanton. And then like, that's what I used for CAW names for a long time. And then I just decided to go by Bryan Zayn. I think it might've been not until I started doing E-Feds that I became Bryan Zayn. And I don't know, it's like, you know, then I think you're just stuck. Zayn looks a lot better on a shirt, and it's easier to spell than my real last name, which people still, you know. My kid told me today that somebody like said her pronounced her name the wrong way. I'm like, get used to it. Get for your whole life. People are just gonna say your last name wrong your whole darn life. Oh yeah, I swore a lot. I mean, when I first started learning swear words. Oh, I was firing them off, man. I was like, we didn't have detention in elementary school. We had this equivalent called Paradise Lost, which is basically detention. But I remember 5th grade, I only went to recess like 5 times all year because I was like swearing for no reason. I would go to Paradise Lost. That was my 5th grade memories. Someone asked, how do I say my actual last name? It's pronounced Sheetle, rhymes with needle. There you go. Where'd I get my neon sign? Actually, my wife got that for me as I want to say it was a Father's Day gift 2 years ago. Father's Day gift. A guy in town makes neon signs, which is fortunate because he lives in a state that does use a lot of neon signs. So yeah, I like it a lot, and I actually got it a long time before I ended up using it because I didn't have a place for it originally. In the old office, there was no room for it, and so then I just decided, like, you know, once I had the shed actualized, this is a tough shed, by the way, I'm in, but once I started putting this place together, I really wanted an excuse to use it, and so then I found room on the wall, and yeah, then that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. Trakes, $5 super chat. Nothing to say this week, so hi to you too, Trakes. I appreciate that. Which shirt do I like better? The Sami Zayn shirt or the best friend of Cassie's? Ooh, it's a toss-up because I'm wearing this one. Editor Izzy got this. I'll answer that question in a second. Editor Izzy got me this as a gift that fell right in the middle of Christmas and my birthday. So I wear this with pride. And but I got the Sami Zayn shirt for myself. I should have worn that underneath as a double whammy. But no, I like them both. They're great. I love the Sami Zayn shirt. I love the confidence that WWE had in, like, hey, let's have this shirt show up in one segment for a joke, and then we'll turn it into a t-shirt. That is a lot of confidence there. Let's see here. Did I go to a prison school? No, it was not a prison school. Paradise Lost was not in a prison school. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. So wrap this up in a couple minutes here. We can good time. We're about half hour in. I feel good. I'm rolling with the punches. Again, I fucked up with the thumbnail, so if you're just tuning in, I apologize. I'll fix it by the time this is archived and put out for replay. Thank you, Drew. I've been seeing you spamming. You haven't been spamming anything bad, but if you just stop, I'll say that. Do I like collecting wrestling figures? I like the idea of it, but I'm not much of a collector. Like, honestly, I've done more collecting of stuff as, doing YouTube than I ever did beforehand. Let's see here. If you want to talk about wrestling collections, go to Jay Biggs' house, because he's the huge collection. If you see my old video I did of the worst action figures, we filmed that in his garage at the time, and that massive collection of figures was all his. Inigo Montoya, he put money down to tell somebody to stop making Brody Lee jokes. Thank you, Inigo. I appreciate that. Benny Richardson, $5. Favorite Royal Rumble sub story? Ooh, Three Faces of Foley is a good one. I'm trying to think what's another good one. Macho Man going after Jake is a good sub story as well. I think the whole, I wouldn't count as a sub story, but Flair going yard in the Rumble match in '92, I think is a sub story in and of itself. Even though he won, so I guess it's not a sub story; it's more of a main story. But Three Faces of Foley is a good one. I'm trying to think of what else comes to mind. Honestly, Edge coming back in 2010 was pretty tight. I was trying to say dope and tight at the same time. Two words I really shouldn't be saying as a 37-year-old man. No, 36. I'm 36 here. Oh, God. I'm already starting to lose my mind. So anyway, I shouldn't be saying that. But yeah. Speaking of don't make Brody Lee jokes, I'll get to Chuck E in a minute. But speaking of Brody Lee jokes, God, somebody from Ringside News is fucking things up. That's something you don't hear every day. Somebody from Ringside News being terrible. Get out of here. It's running this story about Brody Lee and his alleged cause of death. And then Amanda Huber, Brody's widow, has to address that again. And then she shows the receipts, shows the texting from Ringside News and explaining what had happened. And then she's like, you should be apologizing to me. This is bullshit. And then whoever the author of that article was, having the audacity to say, we had a great conversation over text and we've smoothed things over. You fucking liar. God, is there no morality clause? Is there no morality standard at Ringside News? I feel just historically they hire the dirt worst individuals to write their stories. And you can quote me on that. I don't care. Fuck Brad Shepard, and all these other people who are coming, I don't know what your standard is at Ringside News, but apparently bedside manner and tact aren't one of them. Chuck E, $5. Do I agree with your top 5 of all time? Oh, I don't know. The Rock, Stone Cold, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker. If they're your top 5, who am I to disagree with them, man? I wouldn't say they're my top 5, or maybe not that order per se. And maybe if you wanted to categorize it as top 5 in WWE. I would say that's a good top 5, ignoring, San Martino and that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's your top 5, man. Do what you want to do. But thank you very much for chiming in. Let's see here. SmackDown's better than Dynamite. SmackDown right now is doing well. I like it. I like SmackDown a lot better than Raw, and I think Dynamite's great. Would I say that? I don't know if I can tell you right now what's better than the other. Okay, I can. I think that SmackDown right now is better than Dynamite, but Dynamite's right up there, I guess. I'm enjoying Dynamite a lot. I rarely find things to not like about it. Sometimes things get a little excessive with the tag team matches, First Love, $2 super chat. Hogan and Warrior meeting for the first time. Yes, that is a good Rumble story. Yes, I agree. That's a good sub story there. So yeah, that is also a good one. Ooh, does Hulk Hogan deserve to be forgiven? If that's a tricky thing, because I've always said that you can't have accountability without punish, and you can't have accountability in healing. It's a familiar tone you might hear in today's discourse, but you can't have accountability. You can't have reconciliation and healing without accountability. Like Hogan, he has definitely served a penance by being kind of non-personed out of WWE for a long time. He lost a lot of gigs that way, became vilified. In that sense, I think he has, paid his penance. But I mean, when you hear his apology, it boiling down to, hey, brother, don't say stuff because you never know who's going to be recording. Like, that's not an apology. Like, if he could, like, maybe, donate some money to underprivileged communities or something like that to show he's really, like, changed. Like, yeah, I think, like, I don't get mad when he's back on TV because, like, what are they going to do with him? Like, Hogan's like, oh, they're afraid I'm going to take their spot, brother. First of all, no one thinks that. But, like, fans seem to think that because when people get mad when, like, Hogan's on TV, like he's going to be part of the show again. I don't think he is. Like, I don't think he's never taken anyone's spot. He's not going to become as much as I'm sure he wants to be, and I'm sure as much Vince wants it to happen, he's not going to be the champion again. So I don't understand, like, why, he needs to, why people are mad when he shows up. But again, I don't think he needs to be there. Like, I don't know. It's a really tricky subject. I think that eventually, like, again, if his character and his actions warrant it, then yes, he should be forgiven. But right now, I'm not so sure. Razor Dragon, $5 super chat. That's a good eFed name. Been a fan of your work since 2016. My question is, what is the worst storyline I had to watch as a wrestling fan? Ooh, well, I mean, I've always said Katie Vick is one of the few times I've ever actively turned off the TV mid-show, seeing the Katie Vick skit, so that was pretty bad. Having just rewatched the Piggy James storyline from 2010, late 2009, that was pretty shit. And you'll hear me talk all about it in my Rumble 2010 review, which comes out next week. So stay tuned for that. Let's see here. Christopher Gabbianelli, $5. Road Dogg hugging the corner for 30 minutes. I forget what year that was, but I think I know what you're talking about for a Rumble sub story. The battle between Road Dogg and the corner. And this is the last one I'm going to do. Brandon, $5. That's it. I'm starting a wrestling promotion in space. The Universal Wrestling Promotion. Well, it's not the UWF, so you got the clear on that one, but I'm not sure you can do the Universal Championship. That's the one thing I would warn you against. So that's why we're going to wrap this up, folks. It's been fun. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Smackdown Review Live. And like I said, the rest of the month, my Pro Wrestling Tees proceeds will go to the American Lung Association. There's also ad money coming from the Brody Lee tribute that will go there, and I'm waiting for that to finish, like, tabulating. So, yeah, thanks so much for watching, folks. Come back here again next week for the SmackDown review. I can't believe we have 2 more weeks to the Rumble. It feels like we're having a break. It feels like a reprieve. My God. Next week, like I said, is going to be the Royal Rumble 2010. And I'm going to tell you right now what the next countdown is going to be after that, at another 2 weeks, or the week after next, I should say. I'm going to be ranking all the cinematic matches from 2020. From worst to best, and I hope y'all like the rankings I picked. I'm pretty proud of how it all shook out. So say, fine, last super chat. I'll do it. I'll take the money. Thank you. I mean, it's so much work. Ken Terminated by DQ asking, have I thought about doing Redux videos on any of my top 8s when WrestleMania 40 is nearby? Maybe a redone version of the worst Mania videos. Yeah, I can see updating that. I definitely want to update my 8 favorite wrestlers of all time. Maybe do an 8 favorite wrestlers at this moment. But honestly, a lot of that you could have found from, like, going to my best of 2020 countdown I did. Oh yeah, I forgot. Like, before the cinematic rankings, we're gonna have the worst of. So, what are we on now? No, tonight was Final Nitro. This week was Final Nitro. Next week is the worst of wrestling in 2020. Then Royal Rumble 2010. Then ranking the cinematic matches. So you've got the rundown until like mid-February at this point. So yeah, that's what I got on the pike. And again, thank you so much for watching this. Always remember, the influencer loves ya. I'm Brian Zayn.